When you can work the entire water column with one lure, you have something highly efficient that not only catches bass, but it can find them. And that is the real key. Well, the swim jig does just that. I fished a swim jig for many years now and learned from some of the best swim jig anglers around. This lure is a staple on the Mississippi River, and back in my television days, I had some great guests that taught me all about this presentation. They were truly masters of the craft. Well, number one, I love to fish it on a slow pulse. Now, many of you may be familiar with or have used the Alabama shake. It works great, but it can be a lot to keep bouncing the lure like that. The goal of the slow pulse retrieve is to keep it swimming as slow as you can without dropping out of the water column. You want to imitate a bait fish that is not quite right. Well, how slow? Well, a swim jig guru, Tom Mansour from La Crosse, Wisconsin, was quoted in an article one time saying that he likes to use the famous phrase, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." It helps to slow him down. Now, I find myself sometimes going float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, but you get the point. This slow pulse retrieve leads me right to point number two. I like to use a plastic trailer with some width to it, positioned horizontally to resist the water column on the kick or pulses. This helps me to fish it slower and maintain position in the water column. My absolute favorite is a Menace grub, but a craw can work well too. Pick a trailer that kicks downward to help keep the jig up even at slower speeds. Well, the third step to becoming a swim jig master is not to be afraid to fish it like a regular jig when you come across something like laydowns or docks. As anglers, it is so easy for us to limit our lures because of their name. We assume a swim jig is meant to always be used on a swimming retrieve. If I come across a laydown, instead of picking up another lure, I'll pitch that swim jig right in there and work it just like a flipping jig. If I find a pile of bass, then I might swap out lures, but I want to be as efficient as possible. A swim jig will also drag across the bottom just fine if you want to investigate that for a cast or two. Then when you're past the cover or structure, keep swimming it. It's a win-win situation. And number four is important to really maximize your swim jig success. For whatever reason, when swimming this lure, it draws some absolutely ferocious strikes. I get more arm-ripping hits on this lure than any other by far. Well, because of that, a great swim jig rod is a medium-heavy power rating, and here's the key, in my opinion, a moderately fast action. This little extra bend in the rod before it loads up at the backbone helps to secure a solid hook set without the fish coming unbuttoned. The way bass can smash a swim jig, if there isn't enough give, they might pull off before you know it. Now, remember earlier when I said if I run across something like a laydown and if I find a pile of fish in it, I might pick up another rod? Well, this is one reason why. If I find a bunch of bass and thick stuff and the swim jig found them, laying that rod down and picking up a rod with a flipping jig and a faster action on the rod is a good idea. Getting to the backbone quicker can keep the fish from bearing up into that cover too fast. But for that swimming retrieve, that moderately fast action is a winner. And hey, if you want to watch a video that goes over several different ways to rig a plastic worm and look at them underwater to see the true differences between, let's say, something like a traditional Texas rig with a worm weight and then some of the other jig heads on the market, go ahead and check this one out right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.